Hello and welcome to Just Interesting, the weekly podcast where we talk about everything that is just interesting. Hopefully we'll keep your attention engaged throughout this episode because we've got amazing things in store for you tonight or today, depending on the time that you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube. You know, there are so many ways to consume this. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, some other platforms that I can't remember the name of. YouTube is one. YouTube's fairly major for us. Yes, this is true. But joining me, Robin, today for our discussion about mysteries that may or may not be true on the dark web, big scary place, as well as addressing your comments of the week and doing the weekly quiz. But before all of that, we'll be talking about things we learned this week. And joining me for that will be Alex and Martin. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm good, thank you. I didn't know if you'd actually already introduced us or if it did come back round eventually. I was relieved.
Yeah, it was a meandering route, but we got back there. We got there.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Things are going back into lockdown by the looks of things, or
it looks like it, doesn't it?
Martial law. Martial law is currently trending on Twitter, which I think might be a bit of an overreaction. Maybe. Hopefully, it won't turn into martial law. But other than that, I'm fine. How are you, Robin?
Yeah, I'm well. I spent most of this week doing what I normally do, which is sitting in front of the computer. And when I'm not working, I'm in front of the computer researching for these podcasts or watching stuff that I can find on streaming services, but I can't always find everything. And this is why I often use a VPN. And that is a relevant point to make because today's podcast is brought to you by NordVPN, who we've worked with before. We love them. It's been many years now since we've started using NordVPN, and they are a great VPN service. And wonderfully, we can excitingly tell you that thanks to NordVPN, if you go to the web link that, if you're watching us on YouTube, is in the description below, or if you're just listening to us, it's nordvpn.com/justinteresting. That's nordvpn.com/justinteresting, and use the code justinteresting. You will get 68%. That's 68% off a 2-year plan and 1 month extra free.
But Robin, this is the thing. I don't like to commit to things, you know. What if I buy this service and I don't like it? What do I do then?
Alex, you'll be so happy because there's a money-back guarantee if you don't like it.
Well,
so it's no commitment. You go there, you try it out. If you don't like it, get your money back. And if you like it, and I promise you will, it's a fantastic deal. Great value for money. It's like $3.71 a month for 2 years, which is incredible. And 1 month extra free.
That is amazing because there's so much you can do with the VPN service, isn't there? Like NordVPN. You can watch things that you can't watch in your own territory. So for me, I've never seen The West Wing and I'm desperate to watch it. It's not available here in the UK on Netflix, but it is available on Netflix, on the US version of Netflix. So that is my homework for this week is to go and watch The West Wing. But it's also amazing for security as well, isn't it? It's like it's encrypted. It will keep you safe online.
Yeah, they've got automatic kill switches and they've got no data logging. I think NordVPN is just one of those that has been around for a while now, and there's a reason why they're the household name. They are just like one of the best, consistently the top of the like best reviewed VPN services. Yeah. They're a safe pair of hands to go to. It's why we always put our trust in NordVPN, and you should too.
Exactly. And actually, one more recommendation for me for our US listeners and viewers is Line of Duty. Not available in the US, but is available on UK Netflix. And it's about corrupt cops in the UK. It's a drama. It's not a documentary. If you haven't watched it, it's one of the most gripping things I've seen in years. So just for that alone, sign up to NordVPN using our offer code, and you will not regret it.
That is a really good recommendation, Martin. That's a great show. And The West Wing is also a great show. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. So just as a reminder, that's nordvpn.com/justinteresting using the code justinteresting, and you'll get 68% off a 2-year plan with 1 month extra free and a money-back guarantee. There's literally nothing to lose. So go ahead, try it, and let's get into the meat of today's podcast, which is starting with, what did you learn this week, Martin?
Well, this week I learnt about broadband being cut out in a town in Wales. Sounds very interesting, doesn't it?
Did they have NordVPN?
Unfortunately, they didn't. But basically, at 7 a.m. Each morning for 18 months, everyone's internet in this particular village called Aberhausen in Powys in Wales, which is in the middle of Wales. I butchered that pronunciation completely. But everyone in this village, their broadband just cut out completely. And
for 18 months?
18 months.
Oh my God.
So,
I'd move.
Yeah. I know. It'd be a disaster. There was no way we'd be able to do this podcast. It'd be the end of us. But anyway, all of these villagers were wondering what the hell was going on. And it took the broadband provider 18 months to come and investigate exactly what was going on in this little village. Yeah. And it turns out that one villager, who probably for their own safety, who does not want to be named, was using a very, very old television set, which when they turned it on at 7 a.m. every morning, made everyone's internet in the whole village cut out.
How is that even possible?
What? So the article hasn't actually gone into lots of detail about exactly how the technicalities of how this takes place. But they've said that an electrical interference emitted by this second-hand television, well, specifics, affected everyone's broadband signal. And the owner of this particular TV set, who of course doesn't want to be identified, was mortified that their TV was causing the problems to every villager in this town. And so 7 a.m. clockwork, everyone's broadband went down and everyone was just really annoyed. And so this one villager, I imagine there's going to be a witch hunt, isn't there, to try and find out who this was.
That's incredible.
But also you've got a public record now. Everyone knows how much TV you watch.
Yeah,
if it was exactly. 24 hours a day, every day, this TV was on.
That's appalling.
Someone knows exactly how much TV you've been watching.
Yeah, exactly. So the OpenReach chief, they're the people that kind of fix broadband signals here in the UK. They said, we'd just like to advise the public to make sure that their electrical appliances are properly certified and meet current British standards. If you have a fault, report it to your service provider in the first instance so that we can investigate. So, if you've got a TV from probably the 60s, it has a dial to turn it on or is black and white, maybe think twice before turning it on for a full day if you're living in a village in Wales.
Okay, I've got several comments, Martin. This story is incredible. First comment is, I really like the idea, the image of this really sweet little old lady putting on a black and white TV every morning and cutting off the internet unintentionally. But secondly, there must be some very specific circumstances to create that, because like the box, what do they call it, like the router box that's services a particular region for the internet must be positioned so closely to her house, and particularly her living room, wherever she has the TV. Sorry, they. It could be a man.
You've made this in your own mind.
I've made this all in my head. They must be so perfectly positioned, and that TV must be like doing something really weird and something really wrong for that interference to happen. I can't believe it.
It's interesting how certain appliances can affect others. Like, for instance, when I go to my mother and father-in-law's, we get out of our car and we of course we lock it using our key, the electric key. And it sets off a doorbell of a house nearby, and they come to the door every time we go into the house. This couple just come to the door, open it, see us, and we wave across the street at them, apologise, and then go in.
What?
Oh
my God!
It sets off their doorbell. Yeah.
Maybe it's because every time they came out one time just as a coincidence and saw you waving, so now every time they see you come up and park, they just come outside to wave at you.
Maybe, just infatuated.
That is so
maybe. Anyway, so that was my bit of news for the week.
That's incredible.
That was incredible. That was an incredible story.
That's so good. Mine's actually not dissimilar to yours, purely coincidentally. And it was I discovered an article from 2015, or rather a statement from 2015 by the American Public Power Association. That says the most frequent cause of power outages in the United States are squirrels.
No.
Yeah. And they've got a data tracker, what they call the Squirrel Index.
That's amazing.
That analyzes the patterns and timing of squirrels' impact on electrical power systems. And this is what I love. This is the phrasing of this report is what I love. The peak times of the year for squirrel attacks are from May to June and October to November. I just love that. Squirrel attacks. This idea that squirrels are like we're gonna do those humans in. Yeah, we're gonna cut out the power.
It sounds coordinated, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
I don't know why my mind went here straight away, but could you use this as a form of like weapon? You know, like a squirrel bomb or something. You just drop 100,000 squirrels with parachutes into an enemy country, so it destabilizes their like power grid or something.
I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, the way the grey squirrel, when it was introduced to the UK, like exterminated the red squirrel almost to extinction. I mean, they're pretty aggressive. So yeah, let's drop grey squirrels on our enemies and see what happens.
If the Pentagon wants to hire me, I've got a 7-figure contract. Who am I kidding? 8 figures. Well, just let's buy that.
Well, why stop at 7?
Yeah. Well, the fact that I learned this week has nothing to do with electricity or power outages. It's very different. It's about the movie Gladiator. Remember that classic movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Russell Crowe? Yeah. Would you say that it's a particularly historically accurate film?
No.
Well, someone's caught on camera wearing a pair of jeans in the background. So, have you seen that? Have you seen that? Those outtakes. There's like
I've seen some of them.
Yeah,
there's a plane at one point, and you can see the gas canister on the one.
Yeah, and there's a car going past in one of them as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I wanted to point out was that they actually took out some historically accurate details in the film on purpose.
Really?
So, as part of one of the film sequences, the gladiators were actually supposed to come out and advertise product endorsements in the arena. But Ridley Scott took this out of the film because they feared that audiences would find it too unbelievable, like it was too similar to like an actual advert. Like, you know, they just came out advertising Still at Bang or something, or NordVPN. But this was actually something that they did in ancient Rome. Gladiators would come out and advertise products. Kind of makes sense. But the actual thing that I wanted, the other takeaway from this is that this is a known phenomena in films, and it's called the Tiffany problem. And this is basically when something is taken out of a film or literature or writing or TV or anything that was historically accurate, but wouldn't be believable for audiences. Yeah. And it's called the Tiffany problem. And this is because historical authors cannot name any character Tiffany, despite Tiffany actually being a medieval name. It comes from the 12th century and is short for Theophania. And you can't call a medieval character Tiffany, can you?
Because it sounds too modern.
Doesn't seem right, does it?
No. So there you go. There's my This Week I Learned, the Tiffany problem.
That is a great fact.
That is good. That is good. I'm really interested now to go and have a look at all of the movies that this has been applied to, or at least some of the most popular ones, and just see what would have been included if this hadn't happened.
Do you want to know what else? Gladiator is only on the UK Netflix.
Is that right?
Or it's actually, maybe it's the US Netflix. Either or, get NordVPN and play around with it. I know for a fact that it's only on one of the two.
But yeah, everyone listening at home or watching us on YouTube, please let us know which platform it's on and whether or not you can see it and whether or not you've seen those Gladiator mistakes that are littered throughout the movie. And whilst we're addressing our listeners, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all of our dedicated Patreon supporters and YouTube members for all of your amazing support and you keeping this channel going. A very big thank you to our gold members, Hayden Smith, Chris McCrate, Josh Chomatek, Peaswad, Emmett Tapia, Leah Mullen, and our brand new gold member, Herb Brown. So let's move on to our comments of the past week. And I've got one from Valorum on our last podcast, which was about the possibility of scientists having discovered alien life on Venus, which is quite incredible. And Valorum says, maybe one of these weeks, Robin won't mention castration. Wait, how would castration work on a robot anyway? That's a Futurama episode waiting to happen.
And you have successfally brought it up again.
Exactly. Well done. Well done, Valorian.
I did nothing here. This was all Valorum bringing up castration.
Don't encourage him.
I mean, that castration on the robot, though, is interesting because castration, what exactly is it? Is it merely the removal of the genitals, in which case the robot would have to have genitals, or is it the removal of the ability to reproduce? In which case, I mean, a robot can make another robot, right?
What are you saying?
I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna say it now that I'm tagged out of this one completely because it's nonsense. It's nonsense, and I shall not partake in this nonsense and tomfoolery.
I'll be a bit honest, Robin. I'm really scared.
Wait until we're together again in the same room, Alex.
Oh God.
Wait, just wait.
Oh,
But yes, it is a Futurama episode waiting to happen. Yeah, and actually,
it does sound like it.
Futurama's another show that we can't get in the UK, isn't it? Even though Disney's bought Fox, Futurama's not on Disney Plus, is it?
I don't think so. Good point.
Is that on the UK? Is that on the US Disney Plus? Let us know.
I don't know.
And then we can use our
see.
VPN to watch it.
My comment this week is from Amy Licious, and she writes, "This isn't anything to do with the podcast, but I wanted to share. I had a funny dream about Alex the other night. Whoa.
Okay.
I was sitting in a classroom at my old school. Alex was there and he was making too much noise and distracting us, so we had to kick him out of the room." So
it does sound like something. It sounds like something I would do. Yeah.
were you a cheeky chappy at school, Alex, or were you good, quiet, sensible, studious?
Well, I think I was probably. I know it sounds boring, but I was a goody two shoes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too surprised, mate.
Yeah.
I was probably one of those people that sat at the front being quiet, and then when other people were making noise, I'd be like, "Shh, you're gonna get us in trouble."
Were you one of those kids who was like, "Miss, you haven't given us our homework yet."
No, okay. I knew where the line was, and I never crossed that line.
No,
okay?
you get beaten up if you say that.
Yeah, but also I didn't like homework. I was just, I was just in my own little world, just trying to get through it all, waiting for the technology so I could start a podcast. I was voted in my school leaving thing as most likely to get a sponsorship from NordVPN. Cool. Well, please keep me informed if there's any more dreams. Yeah. I've got a comment from that Terrence guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I almost don't want to bring it up, but he says, "I like orange juice with pulp, but Robin's pulpy love juice thing has made me question all liquid."
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you shouldn't have brought that up. Again.
I shouldn't have. What I wanted to bring up was his edit, which was, "I love that Robin being so humble means Alex can't justify raging at the quiz. You and Martin just need to hack him and adjust his settings to be more prideful." And I totally agree with this. Like, he's put into words why I get so frustrated when I go up against you in the quiz, Robin.
Oh.
It's because when you're winning, you're so nice about it. And I don't want you to be nice about it. I want to rage and blame everyone else.
Yeah.
But you're just
and
like, it's okay, you'll get him next time, buddy.
The other side of that, Alex, is if we do have the somewhat fortune of being able to beat Robin, we then feel awful as well.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
that's
you
true.
shouldn't feel awful.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, I don't feel that awful. I do
Good,
like
yeah,
winning.
yeah.
But, I thought I should say that.
I mean, it's neck and neck at the moment in the quiz. I mean, any one of us could take away the victory at the end of the season. It's close. It's close. It's like 7% difference between all three of us. So, it's going to be tight.
Very precise.
You would be like the worst James Bond villain of all time, Robin. You'd be like, he'd be like, "I'm going to stop you, Robin, evil Robin." And you'd just be like, "Oh, yeah, you can try your best. I'm sure you'll get there. I'm sure you probably will." Yeah.
Well, simultaneously knowing that they have no chance.
I wish I were that nice. I genuinely wish I were that nice.
I've constructed this elaborate, device that's going to kill you. But, look, I'm sure you're going to get out of it and you're going to apprehend me. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, well, everyone deserves their chance.
This is it. This is exactly what we're saying. Stop it now.
Oh. Well, thank you, that Terrence guy. That was a nice comment, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So shall we move on to our main topic of the week, which is the dark web, stories that will keep you awake at night. So perhaps we should start just by briefly discussing what we mean when we talk about the dark web. And often I think a mistake a lot of people make when they talk about the dark web is they conflate it with the deep web. And there is a distinction here because the deep web is basically the entirety of the internet that isn't covered by web browsers like Google or Bing or AOL or Ask Jeeves, if that's still a thing. Those web servers only cover a very small percentage. I think it's less than 5% of the actual internet, of what's available out there. And the deep web is everything else besides that. And the common analogy is it's an iceberg. There's a tip of the iceberg above the water, and the internet, the deep web, is everything below the surface, and it extends for kilometers in this analogy. The dark web is the bottommost tip of that deep web. It's that part of the internet that's only accessible through dedicated servers, where you need authorization, or what they call dark nets or networks that allow you access to the dark web. The most popular one is Tor, the Onion router, I think is what that stands for. Or there's Freenet, or there's I2P or Riffle, as examples of things. And it's usually very small, what they call peer-to-peer networks. And the point is that these things offer an incredible amount of anonymity. You log into these dedicated networks that allow you access to the dark web, and you are totally anonymous. Your location is secret. Nobody else can see who you are or where you've come from, because your signal is bounced around the world and nobody knows. So it provides incredible anonymity, which is, of course, a danger, because it's exactly the kind of environment that criminals and people who are up to no good like to operate in.
I mean, we all think of the dark web as like this kind of, there's truly horrible things on the dark web. Drug deals, all the way up to like, horrible stuff I don't even want to bring up, but you kind of know what's gonna be on there. And one of these kind of so-called like urban legends that surround the dark web is this idea of red rooms. Have you heard of red rooms?
No. I have.
It's
not nice places.
Not nice places at all. It's basically this idea that you go onto a specific website on the dark web, and there's basically live web shows from an anonymous place around the world, and the idea is that it features in this red room, and there's people on screen doing horrible stuff to other people, torture,
it's
rape,
video drone.
murder. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that is. I was going to come onto it, but that is where it's thought that this urban legend has come from. Right. The 1983 film Videodrome. But of course, Robin, you just have a Google knowledge of every single film that ever existed.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah. But I mean, the question is, do they exist on the dark web today? This idea that there are these live web hosts that showcase horrible stuff in live real time, and they get audience participation, getting people to say what they want the torturers, murderers to do, and then follow through with that.
Pretty horrible stuff, isn't it? If it is true, that's the question.
Snuff films meeting the YouTube era, basically.
Yeah. It sounds scarily plausible, to be honest.
I mean, with the technology that's out there today, you would think so. Coupled with, I think a lot of what surrounds the dark web mythology is the fact that everything's so secretive and everything can be hidden. Everything's allegedly anonymous. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of the kind of myths surrounding the dark web really lie. However, according to a technology writer and researcher called Eric Pudilov, he says that red rooms do not exist. He says that actually it's near impossible to stream live video over the Tor network, which is the anonymous browser that you use to access the dark web. And he said that would render a service like a red room impossible and certainly not profitable. But whether these individuals would do it for profit, that's another thing entirely, I guess.
That's interesting. I wonder why that's the case that that can't be done. There just isn't the capability, the technological capability to be able to do it.
I'll be honest, I don't actually know the technology behind it.
That's fine.
That
I
is
don't think it's
interesting.
massively important why that's the case.
Maybe it's to do with location. Maybe to stream a live video, you need a specific origin location.
I guess if it has to be anonymous, you're streaming a live feed. I don't know how you would do that kind of while maintaining constant anonymity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just data uploads and that kind of thing.
Well, this is great news, isn't it? I mean, the fact that this isn't happening on the anonymously on the dark web is a great thing.
Yeah.
I imagine that this hasn't come out of nowhere. I imagine that cases of people streaming horrendous events. I know that even Facebook have had issues with people streaming suicide attempts and things like that, and self-harm. There's been a lot of issues with what should Facebook be doing in terms of responding to this. Is it on them to be shutting this down as soon as it happens or as soon as it gets reported? I think the answer is probably yes. Yeah. But I imagine that that's where the kind of idea of these red rooms has come from. It's just been kind of taken to another level because of that anonymity.
Exactly.
That mythology.
And I think that I mean, that's the thing. People might be like, oh, so it's not even true. Not sad that it's not true, but disappointed the story's not true. But the thing is, there is horrible stuff on the internet, and not even on the dark web. Yeah, people have uploaded horrible things and just streamed them to Facebook, and it's been available for people to view for a worryingly long amount of time before Facebook has actually gotten around to do anything about it. I think the Christchurch shooter live streamed his whole
and there was also the person that shot that news reporter. Do you remember that? There was a woman who was shot by a man at the TV station.
Wasn't it her boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend or something?
Yeah, I believe that was. It might not have been live, but I think it was definitely circulated very soon after. If it wasn't live streamed, but I think it might have been. Yeah.
But there's a lot that could influence why this phenomena is spreading. There's a popular creepypasta called The Suicide Show, which was written a few years ago, and that's thought to have influenced this idea. The story is basically that someone went onto the dark web and found this live broadcast that was kind of like this morbid game show where there was this really depressed host, and basically they introduce guests and then they kill themselves, and then judges rate who committed suicide the best. Horrible story, but it was quite a popular creepypasta, and that kind of thing could have influenced where these ideas sprang up from. Also, going back to the horrible things that are viewed online, obviously war footage, and there were obviously the world was kind of enraptured by the horrible footage of ISIS soldiers doing beheadings and that kind of thing. And one of these red rooms that allegedly popped up on the dark web was one called in 2015 an ISIS red room that was advertised on Reddit, and it was a mysterious group that claimed to have captured several Islamic State fighters and were promised to torture and kill them live on the dark web. However, when the time came and that this live chat was supposed to start, it didn't happen. And several hours later on a YouTube channel that was linked to this project, if you want to call it that, a video was released of someone just being force-fed bacon, which I guess is
not
still
nice
dark.
Either.
No.
But it was thought that basically this was... it was just a troll, basically. It's Red Room trolling. And I think that's what a lot of these examples are. Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's no recorded evidence of Red Rooms existing on the dark web. It's just an urban legend. The only ones that have been advertised like this have ended up just being trolls and not being real. Or it's a scam site where they invite people in under this premise and then just scam people out of money, because they have to pay to get into the chat room or whatever.
I see.
Although, of course, that's interesting in and of itself, because it means that there are people who are willing to pay to go onto these things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, knowing how horrible humans can be, that doesn't surprise me, sadly.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it makes sense in that who are you going to complain to if you do get scammed of that money? You can't
Yeah,
really
that's
go
true.
to the police about it, can you?
Exactly. And that, I mean, that links definitely up with my story as well. Which, if you're happy for me to move on to, I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So again, yeah, linking back to the idea of being scammed and having no one to complain to. This story is about a hitman for hire. You know, there was since the early 2010s, there's been talk of hitmen for hire on the dark web,
Yeah.
and being able to hire hitmen to carry out hits on people you know, just by sending them images and bitcoins, and telling them how you would like the person, your target, to be killed. And one of the main sites for this is a website on the dark web called Camorra Hitmen, and Camorra, I think, is an Italian mafia gang, so I think it was named after this. So in 2016, a man called Alan Vincent Hui Kim Seng, 47-year-old, hired a hitman on Camorra Hitmen to murder the new boyfriend of his ex-lover.
Gosh.
So he got into an extramarital affair with a woman who, a few months later, after their fling ended, because it became pretty obvious that he wasn't going to leave his wife for her. So they split up, and then this woman went on to be in a relationship with another man called Mr. Tan. And so he went onto the dark web, went onto this particular site, and ordered a hitman for hire in order to take out Mr. Tan, and wanted to kill him in a car accident, or a supposed car accident, to make it look like he had crashed the car, burnt into flames,
Right, yeah.
and killed this man, to make it not even seem like a hit. And so he paid a few £1,000s in Bitcoin to carry out this particular hit. And at the time, there was another person, a British vigilante, a guy called Chris Monteiro, who basically scours the dark web looking for fake sites. And he came across this particular conversation that was happening on the Hitman website. And so what he did is he got in touch with CBS and discussed exactly what was going on, and basically said that this was a scam, and that people were being scammed out of money with these fake hits.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, CBS got in contact with the Singaporean embassy in Washington and informed them about this potential hit that was going to go down. And so, of course, then the Singaporean embassy contacted the Singapore police, and this man was arrested a few days later. And so, no one got killed in this case. But yeah, as you say, Alex, this one was one that turned out to be a scam. What they were doing is basically sending out these templated emails saying that, in response to people's inquiries, saying, okay, if you want this level of hit, it will cost you $3,000. If you want it to look like an accident, it will cost you $1,500 more, etc.
Yeah.
And so he got scammed out of the money. The interesting thing is that when he was put on trial, the prosecutors basically said that he would have carried out this hit had he not been stopped. And of course, his defense lawyer said, well, this was widely known as being a scam website. There's still debate whether Camorra Hitmen is a scam website or not. It seems like it probably is, but there's no definitive proof that it is particularly a scam. There's just the indicators of the templated emails and the fact that lots of people haven't died as a result of this to tell us that it probably is a scam.
Yeah.
But of course, as you say, if people are getting scammed, they're not going to go to the police saying, I was scammed out of $3,000 trying to put a hit out on someone, because you're not going to do that. So the judge sentenced him to 5 years in jail for this, saying that the fact that it was a scam was no defence, and that he was fully invested in having Mr. Tan killed. His intent was for Tan to die, regardless of whether he was being scammed or not, which is an interesting one for the legal system based on intent. The fact that he wanted to kill this man was enough to get him jailed in the same way as if it had been foiled, and if it was legitimate and then had been foiled. So there wasn't necessarily that distinction between the website being real or not. It was based purely on what he wanted to do and what he wanted to happen for this man.
I guess it wasn't
So, yeah.
though that he just wanted him to die. He did act on it, just in a
Exactly.
in a
Exactly.
So
way
was that
that's
like
never going to work.
attempted murder or something? Is
Yeah,
that what that
he
counts
took the
as?
steps, and I think he changed a few times the way in which he wanted this man to die to the scammers on this website. But yeah, he went ahead with it as if it was going to happen, because it has to be that way if he's going to be scammed, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
scammers want him to believe it's real.
Yeah.
So he's spending 5 years in prison, and he was convicted and charged in September of 2019, so a year ago. So he's a year into his sentence.
Very recently. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is interesting because it goes to show that the dark web isn't the preserve of nefarious, sick individuals. It's anybody can access it if they know how,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody can get on there and do something.
They say, don't they, that everyone in a certain scenario is capable of murder. I mean, this man was a risk management executive, or some could say they're probably sociopaths anyway. But he was, by all intents and purposes, a normal person. So he wasn't. I imagine he didn't look well from the photos. He doesn't look particularly shady. You just don't know, do you?
But also when you picture someone accessing the dark web, you imagine them in a dark room with
Exactly.
a hoodie on and slouched over a laptop screen. But you just download a different browser. It's just the Tor browser, isn't it? That's it. And you can just use it. If you use it as normal, you have to actually search out for this horrible stuff. It's not just going to pop up on a page.
Yeah, you can't accidentally stumble across it. No,
it's very true. But what it does show is that these particular websites, hitmen for hire, there's still a bit of debate over whether they exist or not. The person who Montero, the British guy who's investigated a lot of these sites, seems to think that the vast majority, if not all of them, are scams, just based on the fact that they can make money, and of course it's anonymous, so they don't have to they can just disappear, and they don't have to carry out any kind of hit. There's no need to. If they've taken the money, they can just kind of disappear into the ether. So it seems like these are scams, but it doesn't mean that hitmen don't exist. Of course, we know that this is true. It's just the capability of scamming people via a service like this is much easier when the whole thing is anonymous and they're not going to go to the police.
Oh, that's really interesting, because so we've gone from Alex discussing something that is rumoured to exist but doesn't, and you, Martin, discussing something that does exist but is actually a scam, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story I've got is something that does exist, definitely, but not necessarily in the way that people might assume it does.
I'm intrigued.
So, well, as we've said, the dark web is a place where ordinary people, can go online and do things with perfect anonymity. And I wanted to talk about bug chasers. And there are a group of people who are sexually attracted to the idea of transmitting or receiving sexually transmitted diseases or infections.
Oh dear.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's a fetish. It's a very specific and very odd fetish.
There's another issue with that. Is once you've got it, whatever you're trying to get or give, that's it, really, isn't it? There's mission complete.
Yeah, this is what's I thought was so interesting about this is because basically there's a whole bunch of forums. Apparently, I have not visited them, so I don't know how many there are on the dark web where people go to share information of this kind. And bug chasers are apparently, according to research done in 2007, so it's a bit old, are a subgroup of mostly male homosexual people who want to infect or be infected by STDs. But more recent research in 2017, I think, actually found some researchers went online and got in touch with the people who are on these forums and started interviewing them and collecting their stories. And they found that actually the majority of them merely fantasized about this. Although some of them did go on dates with people they met on these forums on the dark web, which were for bug chasers, the majority of them still habitually took preventative pills that are designed to stop sexually transmitted diseases, particularly HIV. They're preventative treatments either before or after a sexual encounter. A lot of these people who frequent these forums on dark web do take this medicine, so they're clearly not trying to be infected, and they're also clearly trying to prevent themselves passing on the infection.
Yes.
And they found that there was a broad range. There's no particular age group. It's just any age group who's interested in this. Anybody can be part of this group, can have this particular fetish. However, they did find some people who at least claimed that they had infected other people or had been infected by somebody, and they had enjoyed it.
How strange.
Yeah,
It's
there's
so strange,
an
isn't it?
example of, going back to 2007, there was a bug chaser who injected several men at a party, an orgy, I think, with HIV positive blood in order to reach climax during their sexual encounter.
Goodness me.
And
I don't want to be like super judgmental about people,
Yeah.
obviously, but like you do kind of wonder, what are these people thinking during everything going on at the moment with COVID?
yeah,
Is that bad
Yeah.
to say? What's they walking
If you-
around like absolutely loving this?
If you think there are people who go to those lengths, I mean, this is just, COVID would seem like child play to people, wouldn't it?
yeah,
It's mad. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
but
there has been cases, hasn't there, where people have been convicted of purposely infecting others with HIV. Here in the UK, there have been cases of it in the news for sure.
Yeah, I think so, because you're supposed to disclose that information to someone in order to get their full consent for sexual intercourse, aren't you?
I found one here, and 2018, a man was convicted with infecting 5 men by sabotaging their condoms
Yeah.
with HIV.
Oh, that's terrible.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one of those unfathomable. It's so cruel, isn't it? And unnecessary, unjust.
So it sounds like this actually exists and is a thing on the dark web, Robin.
Yeah, but not necessarily in the way that people think. So I think this is what's this is one of the disadvantages of the dark web, in that it succeeds in providing true anonymity and mystery. So researchers who are trying to get to the bottom of this, so to speak, trying to understand where these people are coming from mentally, because it's if it's a fetish, it's a recognized thing. There are many, many fetishes that are recognized by psychologists, so they want to understand this. But they're finding it difficult to find people and to do accurate representative surveys because, of course, it's all completely anonymous and you can't trace these people unless you go on there yourself, approach everybody and say, would you like to tell me your life story? And of course, not everybody, in fact, that's kind of the point of the dark web. And I think it's worth mentioning that it's possible, not necessarily likely, but it's possible that particularly in gay subculture, that there's lots of people who aren't even publicly gay on these sites, using the dark web to protect their own identity because they live in a society where being gay is frowned upon.
That's a very good point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there are a couple of people who were interviewed by researchers who came forward in the UK. This is, and they said that they never realised they had this particular fetish for bug chasing until they went on the dark web as a closeted gay man to explore gay subculture anonymously, and then came across these forums and they kind of discovered a kind of an awakening in themselves for this particular fetish. And I think that's something maybe to end this discussion on, which is the dark web isn't necessarily a bad thing. So you can put a statistic to it, for example, in that as of September 2020, that's this month, at the time of recording this, every day 2.5 million people use the most popular browser for the dark web, which is Tor. 2.5 million people every day use Tor. But every single day there are 4.5 billion people using the internet.
Wow.
Which is about 60% of the global population. So it's a very small, really, minority of people who use the dark web. And that's internationally. And actually, studies have shown, and I say studies, what I really mean is FBI investigations, have shown that no more than half of the people who use the dark web are actually criminals. Half of them use it either for just pure anonymity, for communications, for business, for personal things that they might be trying to hide, such as bug chasing fetishes, or in repressed societies, particularly in the Middle East and in Asia, where they're trying to access news that is forbidden on their government-controlled web browsers.
Yeah, there's various uses that aren't necessarily illegal.
Yeah,
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 it's true.
exactly. And I think it's important to end on that note that the dark web, despite its name, isn't necessarily a bad thing. And even though there is bad stuff on there, absolutely, there 100% is illegal activity on the dark web and some very disturbing illegal activity. It's still a minority. And I don't know, maybe we should start trying to kind of reclaim the dark web as a mainstream thing.
It's kind of become this boogeyman for the internet, hasn't it? The dark web, because people don't really go on there, so people see it as like the dark alleyway. But actually, really, there's dark alleyways everywhere on the regular internet.
That is true.
What's more dangerous? Is it the dark web, or is it these massive social media companies stealing information, promoting fake news, all that? What's more dangerous? Everything that the dark web has been accused of, I think, has happened on Facebook, pretty much.
I mean, having said that, I have literally just typed in dark web on Twitter, and there's a Sky News story from 40 minutes ago saying police have arrested 179 people as part of a global crackdown on dark web opioid trafficking. So,
there you go.
So it's a mixed bag.
Do you want to do a quiz?
Yeah,
I would love
good.
to do a quiz more than anything in this world.
Welcome to the quiz, and as always there are 10 questions with a bonus question in case of a tie, which actually is happening more frequently now. I feel like we've had at least 2 tiebreakers this season. So
we definitely didn't have one last week.
Alex,
it wasn't a tiebreaker.
You're hard on yourself. It was a well-earned...
Stop it, Robin.
So, anyway, buzzers, gentlemen, play me your buzzers. Martin.
The classic.
That's where I am. Nice.
Oh, good old Delia.
Delia, we love her.
And Alex?
I've gone for a classic Lord of the Rings moment.
Ooh.
We have a cave troll.
Do you hear that?
Not actually.
Let's say yeah.
I know what it is, but I didn't hear it.
Let's try again.
That's quite...
Yes.
Yeah, good old Sean Bean.
We have a cave They have a cave troll.
Straight into question number 1. In which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone?
We have a cave troll.
I think that was Delia.
What?
Is it the ear?
No, it's not the ear. Alex?
Is it the pelvis?
No.
Oh.
Pelvis is a bone, isn't it?
Touche, Robin. You got me there.
Yeah.
Passed that test. So the atlas bone.
Atlas
bone.
Okay.
Clue.
Oh.
There might be a clue in the name.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Alex, I think.
Is it the back?
Yes.
Yes.
It is
because
the
he carried the
spine.
weight of the world.
The back. That's not the back.
I would I accept the
Oh,
back
right.
or
The
spine.
back contains your shoulder blades. It contains your scat.
Okay. Fair. That's a reasonable point, but I'm afraid I've already awarded the point. So it's 1-0 to Alex.
Fine.
But
Fine.
extra points. Maybe Martin, you can earn a tie point. You can tell me where in the back the atlas bone is.
I
It's
mean,
in the spine.
You did say.
No, but where in the spine?
Oh, I didn't think we needed specifics.
Is it in the lower vertebrae?
Whereabouts in the spine? It's at the top of your spine.
It is
Right at the
indeed.
top.
It's at the very
It's right at the
top.
top.
It is
The
the
last bone
bone
at the top.
that supports your skull. Hence the name
Yeah.
Atlas, because it's holding up the world. So yeah, there we go. That's still 1-0. Sorry, Martin, you're not getting a point. That was a lie. But
Okay, fine. Back will do.
back will do. Question number
Okay.
2. Which chemical element has the symbol Cr? Yes, Martin?
It's corium.
No. Is that an element?
No,
okay.
it's not.
Yes, Alex.
Is it like cesium?
No, it is
CS,
not. That is an
Silver?
element, but it's not Cr.
CR.
I believe this is a metal. I don't know if that helps.
CR.
Cr, yeah. I'll give you a clue. It's not one of
Okay.
those like lead, which is Pb. It's not one of those where the
Yeah,
letters
it
don't.
has the letters
It is
in.
definitely, yeah.
We have a
Yes,
cave
Alex.
Is it cerulean?
No, but good. Ooh, good word. Good word, but it's
Thank
not
you.
that.
I don't know if it is a real word, but
Yeah.
I've just said it.
That's a colour, isn't it, cerulean? Isn't
I
it
think
like a
so.
shade
Yeah,
of
I think
blue or
that's-
something?
I'm not
It
sure.
sounds kind of sounds like an
I'll give you a clue.
element.
Are you fans
not-
of
yeah.
Mad Max?
What, sorry?
Mad Max. Fury Road.
but
Yeah. Mad Max Fury
yeah.
Road.
Yeah, but I
So-
only saw it once and it was a long time ago.
Your final
Don't
clue
remember
is
it.
shiny and
I can't remember much from that film
Yeah.
apart from the drums, the people playing wicked guitars.
the flame
Tom Hardy.
spewing out. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to watch it again.
Hmm.
If not
Me
just for
too.
this question.
Me too.
No, I think you need to tell us on this one. I'm
Yeah.
not sure we're going to get
It
it.
is chromium.
Chromium, okay.
Chromium, yeah. So it's a
Chrome,
like
chrome,
metal,
yeah.
like chrome.
Chromium. Yeah,
You've
yeah,
heard of
makes
it,
sense.
but yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Bit too hard. Sorry about that. Okay,
No,
still
no.
1-0 going into question 4.
Cool.
Yukon Gold and Russian Banana are both varieties of
I
which
was about to say Russia.
of which food stuff? Yukon Gold and Russian Banana.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Let's just go for.
Yep. Martin.
Let's go stereotypical. Let's go potato.
It is.
I was thinking,
It's
yeah.
actually the potato. Yeah. Well done.
I was thinking it can't be a fruit because it can't be like an
Russian banana.
apple banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Wow. Nice one. So 1-1. Going into question 5, which is actually a multi-part
Did you
question.
say this question 5? Have we had 4 questions?
No, we haven't. We've had 3. We're into question 4.
Question 4.
That was well done, Alex. You get a point for that. No, you don't. Thank you. No, we're into question 4. But this question is worth 4 points because there are 4 parts to it. Okay.
Oh, I immediately regret this. Let's go on to the next question.
No, it's fine. You like it because each part is the closest wins.
Okay.
So the question is question 4, not 5. In what decade were the following actors born?
Ooh.
Yeah. So first actor is Robert De Niro.
Well, so we just guess a year, and if it's right, then we get it.
Yeah, but I'll accept the decade.
1950s, and I'm going to go 1954. Actually, how old would that make?
I'm going to go for 1940s.
Martin is closest because he was born in 1943.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's old, man.
Wow.
He's old.
Yeah.
What?
So 2-1 to Martin.
Yeah.
Second
Oh
name.
my god. Wow.
Emma Watson.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Emma Watson was born in the 80s.
Alex, what's your guess?
Or should I go specific?
So I've got to guess a.
You can go specific if you like, yeah. But
Oh, if you don't get the year, then okay.
We have a cave troll.
I'm going to go 1987.
Oh, do I have to go for? Okay, I was probably going for a tiny bit later. I was probably going to go for 1988.
you're both wrong, but Martin is closer. She was born in 1990. So she's a
okay.
90s child.
Yeah.
So that's,
Do I still get that, even though I said 80s
yeah,
first?
your closest wins, I said. So
Okay,
yeah, that's 3-1 to Martin.
Oh my god.
We're on to the next person.
I'm getting flashbacks from last year.
There's still time. It's all right, Alex. There's still time. Next person is Ryan Reynolds.
We have a cave troll.
Yes, Alex.
He, Robin, I believe, was born in the 70s.
I agree with that. It's when in the 70s. Okay. So,
Balls in your court, Martin.
going to go for. I'm trying to think what year it is now. It's 2020. So he was born in 1970. I'm going to go for 75.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you were.
I reckon he's 45.
Alex?
I'm going to say 1974. I think he's hiding his age.
He was born in 1976.
Yeah.
Are you
So it's 4-1 to
serious?
Martin.
Are you actually serious?
Alex, you had a 50-50 chance and you went the wrong way.
I'm gonna rage at this quiz.
So sorry.
Dear.
Final name in this question. Don't worry. We'll move on.
Why did I point out this question existed? I could have just ignored it.
Your life could have been so much easier.
In which decade, closest wins, was Tom Hanks born?
Okay, put something in mind.
Tom Hanks, did you say?
Yeah.
I think he's quite old. I'm gonna say 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I would also agree it's the 50s. I'm going to go for 1958.
Mm-hmm.
That was literally what I was going to say.
Aw.
So fuck you. Well, I'll go 1957.
Alex, you are closer as 1956.
56, cool.
Good.
There we go.
So it's 4-2 to Martin going
4-2.
into question 8. Well done on the
that's
decades, though. That was a good guesswork. Yeah.
Question 8 now.
Yeah.
So that was actually 4 questions.
That was 4
It wasn't-
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 4 questions.
Oh my goodness. So I've only got.
You got 3 chances.
3 left.
You can do this. You can do this, Alex. You can do this. Question number 8. Cynophobia is the fear of what?
I'm gonna say, can you spell it? Can you use it in a sentence?
Yeah.
I'll
The
spell
spelling
it for you. CYNO. Phobia.
We have a cave troll.
Yes, Alex.
Is it the fear of cynical people?
No. Good one, though. I like that.
The fear of synthetic objects.
No.
That's an S.
That's an S, yeah. I like the way your brain's working. I'll give you a clue. It's an animal.
Oh,
Yes, Martin.
dogs.
It is dogs. It is dogs, yeah.
Well, there we go.
5-2.
I hate Robert
Yes.
De Niro.
He was the catalyst that sparked this whole sequence of events, wasn't
Oh,
it?
man, I'm so sorry. Alex. But well done, Martin. Let's see
Thank you.
how can Alex regain some honour, though. Let's see how this goes.
Should I start apologising?
I don't
Should I
think
do-
anything
should
going
really.
on. It's
I
absolute
do.
shambles.
I do apologise, Alex. For
Oh fuck! No, seriously, stop! Don't do that. I really
I can't
needed
apologise
this
and
win.
laugh at the same time, can I?
I can't express how much I needed this win, and it's gone. It's gone.
So, question number 9, and it's still in the air. We don't know who's won. 5-2. Martin. Which famous American is generally credited with the invention of the bifocal spectacles?
We have a cave troll.
Yes, Alex.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nailed
I
it.
know that.
Nailed
I
it.
know that.
Yeah. There you go.
Couldn't tell you what decade he was born in, though.
Okay, question number 10. Fingers on buzzers. Spreadable butter, as in butter that you can take out the fridge.
Utterly
and
butterly.
spread straight onto the thing. Yeah, any brand, whatever. Lurpak,
Flora,
Flora.
Clover.
No, Flora is margarine, but like specifically butter.
Oh, okay.
Like
Margarine,
okay.
you
the butter
dick.
variety. Milk-derived butter spreadable, straight out the fridge.
Okay.
It was
Okay,
invented in the 1970s.
True or false?
No. In which
True.
country was it invented?
Oh, the 70s.
Hmm.
Who would be needing not margarine, faux butter in the 70s?
It's not fake butter,
Spreadable
it's real
butter.
butter.
Well, yeah, but it's mixed with oil, right?
Some of it is. There are different methods. Yeah.
Usually, it's because that's how they make it, so it's a spread.
Alex, are you buzzing?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I'm
Was it the Soviet Union?
taking over this thing. What's your guess, Alex?
Was it the Soviet Union?
It wasn't. Although I like that. I like that, but it wasn't.
I mean,
Yes,
seems like the kind of thing we'd invent. What about Britain?
it was not. Although, ironically,
A depressing
it
version
was
of butter. Sounds about
available
right.
to buy in Britain several years before it was available to buy in supermarkets in the country where it was invented.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder why.
I'll
What was
give you a
going
clue.
on geopolitical?
It is. Oh, yeah, Alex.
Oh no, you're about to give a clue.
Okay, I'll give you a clue.
I'll
Yeah,
wait for that.
it is an English-speaking nation.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Does that change your guess, Alex?
No, I'll go US.
No.
I was thinking they like,
Yeah,
kind
but
of
they
fake
like their
synthetic
like
cheese and
full
stuff.
fat and healthy stuff, right? Why would they have spreadable butter with vegetable oil in? God, shocking. I'm joking.
English speaking.
Yes,
Australia, mate.
not Australia.
Damn, we're running out of English speaking countries.
Was it sticking with the land down under? Was it New Zealand?
It is New Zealand.
Okay.
It is.
Do you know the reason for this?
It was a response to the development of margarine, which was
They're just like, okay.
yeah
Didn't fancy that.
rapidly succeeding against traditional butter because you could spread it straight out of the fridge. But specifically, it was invented, and this is what I find remarkable and wonderful. It was invented by a couple of scientists working for the New Zealand Dairy Research Institute.
Fair enough.
And actually, New Zealand has a long and fascinating history for dairy-related developments. And the first company to sell a spreadable butter was Anchor Butter, who are a New Zealand company.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know
So
that.
I didn't know that at all.
thank you, New Zealand, for spreadable butter.
Yes. 3 cheers.
3 cheers. So I
not
think
gonna do
that
them.
makes Martin just the winner of this quiz.
Yeah, you got close to me on that.
And it's literally because I pointed out that we missed a question. And it was Robert De Niro. Screw Robert De Niro.
It was indeed. 5-4. Close, very close. So close. I think, does that put you on top of the league table?
You are now joint
don't think
first.
so.
Oh, we
You
both-
two are joint first, and I'm
I see.
in last place. So, are you happy? You happy with that?
No,
Yeah.
Alex. No, of course I'm not happy with that. But, you know,
Fuming.
but it's close still. It's like we're tying and you're only like 7% behind. You can do this.
All right, super
You
close.
can definitely do this. One victory is all you need, Alex.
Just stop giving kind encouragement, Robin. I despise it.
You despise it. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, with that attitude, do you even want the bonus question?
I would like the bonus question, please.
Okay, fingers on buzzers. And
Okay.
the bonus question is Dick Turpin in these woods? No, that's not the bonus question. That's bonus question. Closest wins. In what year did the first man-made spacecraft reach the surface of the moon? I stuck man-made in there because, we don't know what aliens have been up to.
Yeah.
Yes, Martin.
That's me.
Oh,
I did
sorry.
I did a little "Where are you" first.
I
did you?
I heard
Sorry.
where are you? Yeah.
I didn't. hear it.
Sorry,
My
it did
bad.
cut off. It did cut off quite abruptly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for earlier than we think. I'm going to go for 1953.
I'm going to go a bit later than that. I'll go 1960.
Oh, Alex, you're a year out. It was 1959.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And it was
Very good.
Luna 2, a probe launched by the Soviet Union.
There we go.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
They did
Fair
well.
enough.
They did well. So it was actually 5-5 in the end. This quiz
Well,
is
no,
a tie.
'cause
No, I'm joking.
To be honest, Alex, you said back for the for the Atlas bone.
I didn't want to
You
break
did, that's
question
true.
one,
Yeah,
but you
that's a
did
good
say
point.
that.
I'm quite generous there.
The back even has the shoulder blades, the rib cage, your collarbone, mental back, madness. But Quizmaster's always right. So
Quite right. That's the way it should be.
You've shot me with a gun made of quiz knowledge. Fair enough.
Well, thank you for joining me for that quiz, lads. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed it too.
it was good. Thank you, Robin.
Well done on
Thank
your
you,
victory,
Robin.
Martin.
Thank you, Robin.
And
No, I am very grateful. That was
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Your time will come,
I just-
Alex. You're lulling us into a false sense of security. That's what I think. You
I hope so.
You hope
so.
so. Oh, you definitely are. And anyone listening at home or watching us on YouTube, please let us know your results either in the comments below on YouTube or on Twitter. Give us a tweet at JInterestingYT to just let us know how you're doing on the quiz and any other thoughts and interesting stories you come across during the week. We'd love to know. Thank you for joining us, and massive thank you to our Patreon supporters, and don't forget to check out our exclusive offer with nordvpn.com/justinteresting. Use the code justinteresting to get 68% off a 2-year plan with 1 month extra free and money back guarantee if you don't like it. Nothing to lose. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.